Before the video starts, a small advertisement for my community Discord server. I created the server so you can link up to join, ask questions, and for my new squadron that I created in-game. If you are interested to join, the link is in the description. In today's video, you will learn how to fly the G55 Centauro, the Re2005 2001 and 2005, and the C205 Fulgor. All three of those planes play totally differently from each other. That's why most people don't even try to understand how they work, or what their potential really is. To keep it simple, the G55 Centauro plays like Japanese K.I plane. Its strengths are a strong armament, a good turn rate, good flaps, and good climb rate. Its weaknesses are bad top speed, poor ballistics, bad energy retention, bad low alt performance, damaged wings impact performance really hard. The Re2005 series plays like a J2M. Its strengths are similar to the G55, but it offers a better climb rate, better flaps, a better turn rate. The weaknesses are the same, but worse. Worse top speed, worse energy retention. The C205 Fulgor is a different approach and offers an energy fighting style, instead of turn rate. It's obvious that it took inspiration from the BF109, but improves it. Strengths are great top speed, great climb rate, even greater energy retention than the BF109. Integrated cannons, no gun pods. Good flaps. Here the weaknesses are average turn. The history of the Italian air industry, the Stellar Trio in World War II was pure chaos. The first problem was that 1937, Fiat was the only aviation giant for Italy. But in the competition for Italian's next main fighter, the G55 design lost to the Re2001 designed by a small aircraft producer. That means that the capacity in production wasn't given, and spoiler, won't ever reach the goal of the Italian Air Force. The second problem was that in contrast to foreign planes, Italy was just worse. Not cause the airframe, but simply cause the engine could barely handle the weight of the plane. The engines made by Fiat, Alfa Romeo, and Isotta Fraschini were just objectively worse than the British or Germans. And they also had problems producing them in enough numbers. But there was hope. Once Italy had the rights to produce the German Daimler-Benz DB601 engine, the C205 Fulgor won the competition without real competition. With the new engine, the Re2005 2001 was also accepted as multi-role fighter. The new engine also meant that Fiat fell deep financially, means the production suffered even more. And if that wasn't enough, Germany failed to deliver the promised engine, so the production of the planes was even worse, with only minimal numbers in production. The DB601 was produced by Alfa Romeo, but the DB605 was made by Fiat. That means two different production lines. That's most likely cause of fascist politics behind the scenes. It got so far that 1941, the head of Fiat stepped down. At the same time, a new competition started, that the C205 Veltro won. It was the C202 with the new Daimler-Benz DB605A engine. To make it even more complicated, the creator of the German Focke-Wulf 190 said that the G55 was the right plane for Italy, while the Messerschmitt producer said the Re2001 was the way to go. In all of this chaos, the Italian army got involved and said, "Build anything. We are losing the war." In the end, only 262 Veltros, 274 G55s, and less than 50 Re2005 got produced. The goal the military gave was over thousands of planes. The most used Italian fighter was the Bf109G, bought from Germany for a high price. In 1943, Italy started a civil war against the fascist government, marking the end of Italy's aviation productions. Now to our first plane, the Re2001. In short, it's a J2M. It has a great climb rate, but is slower than a S6M20. The climb rate and the turn rate are the only thing that makes this plane work. There are two types of Italian planes, Italian engines and German engines. I wouldn't recommend any plane with an Italian engine besides the Re2001. You can see why in the top right corner. The engine overheats so quick that you can't use the plane for its full potential. Here you have to use manual engine controls to balance the prop pitch. The climb rate is also very interesting, because you have a good climb rate, but bad climb speed. You climb best with a speed of 250-260 km/s. One big flaw of the early Italian planes are the weak weapons. Here I heavily advise you to use the universal or stealth belt for the 7.7 mm. For the 12.7 mm, use the stealth belt for maximal damage, air targets for some tracers. The tracer belt is good for ground RB. Its rivals, the Spitfire and the Zero, give it a hard time in turn fights, but it's not impossible to win a turn fight. Here you have to use your flaps. The combat flaps are on pair with a yak. The secret of the flaps are that they are not only part of the wing, but of the fuselage as well. That means better turn, but also more drag and less energy retention. The takeoff flaps are on Spitfire level. They should only be used in overshoots, because they cost a lot of energy. The landing flaps are awesome, but using them is really difficult, because of the immense drag. You really want to fight one enemy at a time, because you will be mostly at low speed. That makes you an easy target, and once you have no speed left, you need a long time to regain it. Here you see an example of fights you will have regularly in the Re2001. It's just like a Just Dance game, where you need to hit every maneuver at the right time. The Re2001 CB is the ground strike version and offers small bombs. The Re2001 NA is the night fighter variation. It changes the 7.7 mm to 2 by 20 mm made in Germany. Be advised that the 20 mm are gun pods. That means your performance gets a bit worse. However, the gun pods are worth and offer better damage, but you only have 120 rounds in total. The C205 Ultra was a copy of the BF109. The main differences are the turn performance and weapon systems. You need speed to turn well. For that, you have flaps with a high rip speed. For its climb rate, you want a speed of 300 km/h. Also interesting is that besides having the same engine than the G2, the performance is different. In a BF109, you can't get over 70% prop pitch, cause then your engine overworks, destroying it. In Italian planes, you don't have this problem. Your performance is also a bit weaker as it should be. For that I think the Re2005 and G55 were the problem when they came out years ago. They had an exploit that you could double the engine power you should have. Since they fixed that, all the Italian planes got worse. The Italian planes like G55 and Re2005 also got uptired, even after the nerf. The thing about this plane is that you have a great performance and great flaps as well. It won't give you every dogfight by just turning like the yak, but in good hands, you can outperform many enemies. The G55 is a very interesting plane. It's not that fast, but can turn with most planes. It's a mix of Re2001 and CE205. Here you really need to focus, because once you are at low altitude, you won't have much performance left. Turning is your only hope here. At high altitude we have a whole different conversation. Here, you have a great performance. Your turn suffers, but for that, your engine takes over. Your playstyle should be between a turn and energy fighter. You can fight Spitfires, but that takes a lot of skill to do. Zeros are your worst enemy. It's advised to don't fight them, unless you have an advantage. Yaks or BF-109s or even P-51s can be handled without problem. Be advised that a Zero is almost as fast than you at low altitude. That means you better know what you do at low alts. A good tip I gave in my BF-109 guide was, aim in front of your target. That wasn't the right wording. What I meant was, leading shots, instead of tracking them. What's the difference, as you ask? By tracking the target, you adjust your aim till you hit the target. By leading your shots, you aim far into the flight path of the enemy, so he will fly into the shells. It works with German cannons, cause even one hit can mean the end of the enemy, and cause you don't have many tracers, that's very welcome. You will see good examples of those snapshots later in the video. When you have the energy advantage, there isn't much the enemy can do. He most likely won't outturn you, and if he does, you can play energy. For the G55, it's very important that you understand the matchup in every fight. As long as you do that, you will have great success. From here we will only see gun upgrades. That's cause the Italian Air Force just had those 3 fighter planes. Just be aware that more guns means less performance, cause more weight. Also, a great aspect of the Italian planes are the manual engine controls. You can really feel how pitch and radiators change the performance of each plane. The G55 in particular only has a overheating problem when you have the prop pitch on 100%. It's a real balancing act to get more pitch, but also the optimal radiator performance. For the C205, you can put the radiator at 100% and it won't suffer much from drag. The G55 on the other hand suffers a lot from drag. I also wouldn't trust the auto prop pitch here. Weirdly again, only the Re2005 has an automatic prop pitch, while the rest doesn't. In comparison, all later BF109s have them. There are two different late CE205 versions. The first one has 2 by 20 mm while the second one has 3 by 20 mm. I personally advise you the Serie 3 for air RB, while the prototype N2 Orion is more for ground combat. There was also a second prototype build, the N1, but sadly it isn't in the game. It would have offered only 1 by 20 mm and 4 by 12.7 mm like the early G55. It also had a longer wingspan and fuselage. The CE205 is a very underrated plane, and is definitely worth a try if you already know how to play the BF109. The extra energy retention and cannons make it a real rival for the BF109, and together they are really strong. Now we come to the last planes. They differ a lot from the previous ones. First we have the G55 Serie 1 and the G55S. The difference here is that the G55 has 3 by 20 mm and the 12.7 mm, while the G55S only has the 3 by 20 mm. That gives more performance to the G55S, while the G55 is again more for ground RB. The performance is better than the Series 0, while having more guns. The main problem comes when facing stronger enemies. Things like Spitfire LF or Yak-3, you are in real problem. Here you need to really take the fights you can win. In a straight 1v1 with those planes, at same skill level, you won't have a chance. The real menace is the G56. It's the normal G55, but you lose your 2 by 12.7 mm because of the new Daimler-Benz DB603A engine. This plane was so good that even Germany wanted to use it. They flew the two prototypes, but cause of the fall of Italy, had no chance to produce them. That's also why you see Luftwaffe marks on the in-game version. The new engine gave the plane 300 extra horsepower, giving it the climb rate of Bf109s. It also had extra ammo for the 20mm. The plane offers great energy characteristics, while still having the turn fighter airframe. In-game it's a 6.3 plane, and I wouldn't recommend fighting jets with it. It's good, but it can't deal with jets, cause of its still worse performance at low altitude. With the knowledge you gathered from the other G55s, this plane will feel like a real end boss when flown good. The Re2005 Serie 0 is the original Re2001, but with better cooling system, extra 3x20mm, and a great climb rate. This plane isn't like the J2M, it's even better. This plane can turn very good, as long as it's not low to the ground. The problem is the bad energy retention. It also doesn't like energy fighting, that's why you better keep the dogfights short. There aren't many planes like the Re2005, you have a brutal armament, with then a brutal turn rate. You also have a great bomb option for ground RB that makes you the best plane for overshots and snapshots, but why 6.0? The Re2005 was a great plane, but don't forget that we are still using an G2 4.3 engine here. That this plane sees jets as a joke, and should be the case. That's why I personally say, if you are in a Jet 7.0 lobby, just leave. It's not fun fighting stuff that is 20 years older than this plane. However, it's still a great plane and that's why I gave it the name Re-Zero. This video again took a while to make. Like I wrote in the sneak peeks, I was sick during Christmas and New Year. I still feel a bit bad, but I said I make the video, so here it is. While making this video, I noticed many of you in game. It's still weird for me to be recognized. I really wanted to say thank you for your kindness, and that you send nice messages to me. I saw many comments asking for a P47 or P39 guide. I will make a poll the coming week, where you can vote what you want to see. Also, don't forget the Discord. Bye.